Prepare for war. From the blood-soaked sands of the ancient world to the towering legacy of Western civilization, witness the Roman Empire's clash on the Ionian Sea, the grueling muck of the mud, Napoleon's daring gambits, the epic envelopment masterpiece that shattered 300,000 Persians, and the masterstrokes that remade history. Buckle up, this is where empires rose, fell, and the world changed forever.
Imagine 80,000 Roman soldiers holding off 250,000 enemies with just 2 layers of earthworks, and they did it in 47 days. In 52 BCE, Julius Caesar faced a desperate situation. He had trapped 70,000 Gallic warriors inside the hilltop fortress of Alesia. But Vercingetorix, the Gallic leader, had a plan. He brought in 180,000 of his own men to break the siege from the outside. Caesar's answer: a 20-mile double wall with a moat, a massive earthwork built in just 10 days to stop both armies at once. The Romans held firm, the outer army was crushed, the inner surrendered, and 100,000 Gallic warriors were killed or captured. This siege changed the fate of Europe. Roman dominance was secured, and the Gallic resistance was broken forever. And it all happened in just 47 days, with 80,000 Romans against 250,000 enemies. Which battle should we cover next? Comment below. What if 10,000 ships had never reached your city, and you didn't even know it? In 480 BCE, the Persian Empire launched the largest naval invasion in history, 1,200 warships, stretching for miles. But the Greeks had only 370 triremes, and they were outnumbered 20 to 1. They lured the Persians into the narrow straits of Salamis, where the sheer cliffs made it impossible to outmaneuver them. Xerxes watched from a floating throne, and nearly drowned when his bridge collapsed under the chaos. In the dark, the Greeks lit fake beacons on hills, tricking the Persians into spreading out, and turning the tide. A 370-ship Greek force defeated 1,200 Persian warships, and changed the course of history forever. Which battle should we cover next? Comment below. In 31 BC, Cleopatra commanded 400 ships, but Octavian had just 200. And he won. The Battle of Actium raged off the coast of Greece, where Cleopatra and Mark Antony faced Octavian's forces in a fight for the Roman Empire. Cleopatra had 4 times as many ships, but they were slow and packed with luxury. Octavian had fewer, but they were fast and deadly. Octavian's secret weapon: fire ships. He sent burning vessels into Cleopatra's fleet, turning her advantage into chaos. The battle lasted just 3 hours. Cleopatra fled so fast, her flagship ran aground, and Octavian won the empire. This battle changed history. Octavian became the first Roman emperor, and the world changed forever. And scientists still can't explain how Octavian's 200 ships beat 400 so easily. Which legendary battle should we uncover next? Comment below. In 31 BCE, Mark Antony's 400-ship fleet faced Octavian's navy in a storm that changed history. The Battle of Actium wasn't just a naval clash, it was a fight for control of the Roman Empire. Mark Antony had 400 ships, but Octavian's navy was faster, smaller, and more maneuverable. Agrippa, Octavian's brilliant general, lured Antony's fleet into a narrow strait, trapping them like sardines. The battle lasted only 2 days, but it decided the fate of the Roman Empire. Octavian even captured Antony's flagship, and later paraded it through Rome as a trophy. One storm, one battle, and the Roman Empire was forever changed. Which legendary battle should we uncover next? Comment below. Picture this, 24,000 French knights charging through knee-deep mud. And they lost. It was October 25, 1415, the Battle of Agincourt. The English had just 6,000 men, and the ground was a disaster. 10 inches of mud turned the field into a death trap. Knights in full armor couldn't move, they were stuck. English longbowmen unleashed arrows that could pierce armor at 150 yards, and they shot in volleys. The French had so many knights, they had to wait in line just to die. Only 6,000 English soldiers won with under 1,000 casualties. Agincourt became a symbol of English resilience, and a warning to never underestimate the power of mud. What other battle should we uncover next? Comment below. More than 30,000 men died in a single day at the Battle of Borodino, the bloodiest clash of the Napoleonic Wars. On September 26, 1812, Napoleon's Grande Army met the Russian army in a brutal 12-hour battle near Moscow. Over 250,000 soldiers clashed, a battlefield stretching 20 miles, more men than ever seen in one place before. The Russian army held the high ground, but Napoleon's forces pushed forward, each side determined to break the other. The Russian army lost 30,000 men, French casualties reached 25,000, but Napoleon still marched toward Moscow. The ground was so soaked in blood that it froze, and just 1 year later, Napoleon's empire began to crumble. A single day of war changed history, and no one saw it coming. Which battle should we cover next? Comment below. "20,000 more Romans died in one day at Cannae than at Gettysburg." This is the battle where 80,000 were crushed by just 40,000. In 216 BCE, near the town of Cannae in southern Italy, the Roman Republic faced one of its greatest threats, Hannibal Barca. The Romans brought 80,000 men to crush Hannibal's 40,000. On paper, it was a sure win, but Hannibal had a secret weapon. Hannibal used a double envelopment tactic. His center gave ground, luring the Romans in, while his flanks wrapped around and crushed them from both sides. In just 2 hours, the Romans were trapped. Only 10,000 survived, the rest were either killed or captured. Hannibal won one of history's greatest tactical victories, yet he never marched on Rome itself. Why? No one knows for sure. Which legendary battle should we break down next? Comment below. In 331 BCE, Alexander the Great faced an army 25 times larger than his own. The Battle of Gaugamela was more than just a clash of armies, it was a fight for the fate of the ancient world. Darius III brought 300,000 men to the field, 10 times the size of Alexander's force. But Alexander's phalanx held strong, withstood 10,000 Persian cavalry charges, and broke the enemy line in just 2 hours. The battle ended with 20,000 Persian dead, and the fall of the largest empire in history. Within 3 years, the Achaemenid Empire, the mightiest of the ancient world, was gone. And it all started with 40,000 men who changed history. Did you know over 1 million soldiers froze to death in the Battle of Stalingrad? In the winter of 1942, the Third Reich sent 850,000 troops to capture Stalingrad, but they were about to face a nightmare. The Soviets, with 1,200,000 soldiers, turned the city into a frozen death trap. Temperatures dropped to 20 degrees below zero, and blood froze in minutes. For 5 months, both sides fought house to house, street to street, in one of the bloodiest battles of the war. The Soviets used frozen corpses as stepping stones to cross the Volga River during the siege. Over 2 million soldiers died in the battle. The tide of the war had turned. And the world still remembers the frozen hell that was Stalingrad. Which battle should we cover next? Comment below. "200 Texans. 3,000 Mexican soldiers. 13 days of unrelenting battle." This is the story of the Alamo. In 1836, Texas was a battleground. The Mexican army, led by General Santa Anna, aimed to crush the Texan rebellion by force. The Alamo was a last stand. Only 200 defenders, just one was a trained soldier, held the mission against 3,000 troops. For 13 days, the siege raged. The defenders faced starvation, constant bombardment, and overwhelming odds. On March 6, Santa Anna led a final assault. Only 13 defenders survived, all were killed the same day. But the battle didn't end there. The Alamo became a symbol of courage, and it inspired a turning point in the Texas Revolution. And here's the shocking twist, only one of the 200 defenders was a professional soldier. The rest were farmers, traders, and volunteers, fighting for freedom. Which legendary battle should we uncover next? Comment below. In the dead of winter, 600,000 German troops launched a surprise attack through the snow-covered Ardennes Forest, and the Allies had no idea. It was December 16, 1944, the largest land battle ever fought by the United States and a turning point in World War II. The Allies had only 20,000 soldiers defending this vast region, a staggering underestimation of the German threat. German forces used captured American equipment, spoke fluent English, and even wore stolen uniforms to mask their movements. Within 3 weeks, over 89,000 American soldiers were casualties. The battle was brutal and unforgiving. Despite the initial success, the Germans were stopped, and the Allies launched a massive counteroffensive that turned the tide of the war. And here's the twist, some German troops even used forged documents and posed as American prisoners to avoid detection, a deception that nearly worked. Which battle should we cover next? Comment below. Did you know a single snowstorm caused 25,000 American deaths? In December 1944, Germany launched its final major offensive in World War II, the Battle of the Bulge. With 20,000 tanks and infantry, the Germans aimed to split the Allied front and reach the English Channel. But the Allies were unprepared. The brutal winter dropped temperatures to 20 degrees below zero, freezing weapons and artillery. Over 100,000 Allied soldiers were listed as missing after the battle, and more than 250,000 were killed, wounded, or captured. Here's the twist, many German troops wore summer uniforms and froze to death before they could fight. One snowstorm changed the course of history, and left the world wondering, what if the snow never came? Which battle should we cover next? Comment below. On June 12, 1876, 612 soldiers were wiped out in just one day, the deadliest defeat in U.S. military history. The 7th Cavalry, led by General Custer, was sent to find and capture Sitting Bull's Lakota Sioux, but they walked into a trap. Custer's force was outnumbered nearly 3-1, 2,000 Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho warriors awaited him. Custer made a fatal decision. He split his forces and led a final charge into the heart of the enemy lines. Within minutes, Custer and every man under his direct command were killed, no survivors. The Battle of the Little Bighorn wasn't a heroic last stand, it was a catastrophic miscalculation that shocked the nation. And it remains the only time in U.S. history that a full military unit was completely wiped out in battle. Which legendary battle should we uncover next? Comment below. What if 13 British ships destroyed 14 French ones in just 3 hours? In 1798, Admiral Horatio Nelson faced the French fleet in the Battle of the Nile, a turning point in the Napoleonic Wars. Nelson's 13 ships were up against 14 French, and the odds were stacked against him. But Nelson ignored the standard line of battle formation. Instead, he ordered his fleet to break through the French line in 2 bold columns. The British suffered 1,600 casualties, but captured 7 French ships. French losses totaled 4,500 killed or captured. Nelson's risky maneuver changed naval warfare forever, and secured British dominance at sea for decades. And no one saw it coming, not the French, not the world. Just 13 ships. One brilliant mind. One impossible victory. Which legendary battle should we uncover next? Comment below.